This episode is brought to you by Old Hat Creative, the nation's leader in sports creative. Looking to take your brand to the next level? Old Hat has been partnering with college and professional athletic organizations for 2 decades, helping more than 200 teams elevate their brands. From logo design and branding to facility graphics, video production, research, web development, and more, they've got you covered. Old Hat Creative, your ultimate sports branding partner. For more information, visit oldhatcreative.com or follow them at Old Hat Creative. Welcome back to the ICLA podcast, Licensed to Lead Business Behind the Brand. I'm Jason Harbison. I serve on the ICLA Board of Directors representing Auburn University, and I'm honored to be your host. ICLA is the International Collegiate Licensing Association, and our mission is to promote and enhance the collegiate licensing industry through education and development of its professionals. Our goals are to provide unbiased, industry-leading resources focused on improving the overall understanding of the collegiate licensing industry, further the development of licensing professionals, and increase the collaboration of licensing professionals across the entire industry. This podcast is being produced as a resource for our members, to others who are in or adjacent to the collegiate licensing industry, or anyone else who just thinks college brands are cool and want to know more about the business behind the brand. So one of our annual educational and networking events, which is strongly tied to the ICLA's mission of education and development of licensing professionals, is the Desert Cactus Winter Symposium. This past January, ICLA partnered closely with the Sports Licensing and Tailgate Show in Las Vegas, and the two events were co-located at the Las Vegas Convention Center. During the Tailgate Show, we set up a camera and microphone at the ICLA booth and asked folks to tell us what they were looking to accomplish at the 2025 Sports Licensing and Tailgate Show. We began with Carl Feek from UNLV with his goals, and a welcome to Las Vegas from the Runnin' Rebels.
Good afternoon. Name is Carl Feek. I'm with the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV Rebels. Here at the 2025 Sports Licensing and Tailgate Show, hoping to discover some new brands and open up some opportunities for our fans to purchase branded merchandise. Also looking in the name, image, and likeness space to see who can help our student athletes expand their brands and maybe make a little bit of money as well. So excited to see everybody come here to Las Vegas, UNLV's home, and have a great show.
One of the collegiate licensing industry icons and a member of the ICLA Hall of Fame, Denise Lamb, more commonly known to those in the collegiate licensing industry as GOAT, stopped by with a group of first-time Tailgate Show attendees to whom she was showing the ropes.
Hi, I'm GOAT from the University of Montana, the Chief Licensing Officer. So excited to be back at the show. This is probably my 30th, and just to meet old colleagues and meet new ones. Have a great day.
And from a Hall of Famer to a relative newcomer, here's a word from ICLA Mentorship Program participant Eldon Lindsay from Georgia Tech.
Hey everybody, Eldon Lindsay from Georgia Tech Athletic Association. Looking forward to a great day at the Tailgate Show and having my mentors, Kevin and Goat, show me the ropes.
And that's really what it's all about with ICLA, building community. ICLA's mentorship program is a great way to connect with seasoned professionals. Reach out to us if you are interested in more information on participating as a mentor or a mentee in the coming year. Collegiate licensing is truly a relationship business, and some attend the show to simply say thank you to licensees for their partnership. Some collegiate licensees have been in the industry for a long time, and others have gone the extra mile on special programs or to support institution initiatives. Shelby Silflo from Idaho wanted to focus on thanking her licensee partners.
All right, so Shelby Silflo, University of Idaho, Trademark and Licensing, and just a great way to say thank you to our partners in the industry and for all their support.
Some look to connect with licensees and friends from the industry, share ideas they know, and plan for the year ahead, or just get rejuvenated. Here are Spencer John from Boise State and Sonny Minton from NC State.
My name is Spencer John. I'm with Boise State University. I'm really looking forward to connecting with a bunch of the licensees that we work with all the time at Boise State. Just kind of talking about our year ahead and what we can do to capitalize on the momentum that we have at Boise State. Yeah, that's it.
This show for me is a chance to connect with all of my friends across the country in the licensing world. We can share ideas, we can reconnect, and it's also rejuvenating. It gets me ready for the spring and the fall, and it prepares me for the year ahead, and it's just what I need after the holidays.
And so, with that background, we turn the rest of our time today to ICLA First Vice President and Director of Licensing and Trademarks at Indiana University, Kimberly Spino. Kimberly is joining us today on the Sewing Concepts Hot Market Hotline. So, Kimberly, as ICLA's First Vice President, you were responsible for planning the 2025 Desert Cactus Winter Symposium and coordinating a new partnership with the Sports Licensing and Tailgate Show. But before we get to that, let's just take a few minutes to get to know you better. If you could just want to start out by talking a little bit about your role at Indiana.
Sure. Thank you, Jason, for having me on. Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly Spino, Director of Licensing and Trademarks at Indiana University. I started here in May of 2022, so I'm coming up on 3 years. And our office oversees the licensing program for all 9 campuses at IU. I'm housed here in Bloomington, and we have an independent program, and happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much. Now, Indiana's not your first stop in the licensing world. If you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about your history in the industry and how you got to IU.
Yeah, so I would say my career in licensing actually started about a year after I graduated from UCLA for undergrad. I was an assistant to the on-campus Adidas rep, back when Adidas had on-campus reps, who managed the supplier agreement between Adidas and UCLA athletics. I spent a couple of years in Ohio as a NACTA intern and went to grad school in Ohio as well. Worked in athletics at Sam Houston State. Fun fact about Sam Houston is they became the first Division I program to join Strategic Marketing Affiliates, or SMA at the time, for those of you who remember SMA.
Oh, wow.
And so I learned a lot about licensing in that role when I was doing marketing and sponsorships for about 3.5 years. And then I moved on to the University of Texas. I worked there for about 6.5 years and managed the licensing programs for 11 UT system institutions. And so when I took the opportunity at Texas, I think that was when I really knew for sure that licensing was going to be my career path.
It's great how many people have different stories of how they got into this business. Very few people go, you know what, I want to be a licensing professional. So it's usually an interesting route how people get here. So thanks for sharing about yours. So ICLA has partnered with the Sports Licensing and Tailgate Show on a rotating basis for a few years. We've co-located with some different shows and tried some different things. But this year, you and the ICLA officers forged really a deeper partnership with the show for the Winter Symposium. So can you just talk about the thought process of how that came about?
Yeah, sure. So I think this has been a long time coming. There's been a lot of discussion amongst the board for a few years now. But we also really looked at the survey results that we've received. We know people like to co-locate with a show in general, and we know that people are getting a little tired of being in Vegas every year. However, the Tailgate Show was really overall the best fit for us, for the association, and we bring so much value as an association to the Tailgate Show. It seemed like a natural fit for us to try to incorporate more of our time there into Tailgate. We also took into consideration a lot of people spend a lot of time in Vegas. You know, things are getting more expensive. People want to keep their budgets in mind. So this past year, we really tried to shorten the amount of time that people were in Vegas by incorporating some of our programming and creating a booth at the Tailgate Show.
I stopped by the booth a few times. That was really a happening place. A lot of people came by to see that extra content there. So I thought that was a great ad, just from my perspective. So we heard from some folks earlier as we started the podcast about what they look to accomplish at the show. So when you're planning a symposium with educational programming alongside a trade show, when you know people have different reasons to be there, where do you really start to generate your content ideas?
Yeah, we take a look at previous agendas. We look at the listserv on what are some of the hot topics that are coming through. And then we also look at our survey results from previous years. I think we try to keep it unique and fun, and we don't want to, overlap too much with what has been recently presented on. But we know there are some hot topics, in the industry that we felt were relevant.
Well, I thought you and your committee really did a great job with the agenda this year. Personally, I really liked hearing from Michael Easter, author of The Comfort Crisis. I had already read his book, so when he popped up on the agenda, I was really excited. Just talk about, did you have a favorite presentation from this year?
I thought a lot of them were great. I really liked Phil Cook from the WNBA. I thought that was a great ad, very insightful. And I also really enjoyed the unique activations with the Eggheads and Alternative Identity. I thought those were both great presentations. And it was great that Jasmine from UC Davis was also a Synergy Award winner.
Yeah, those were all really good. I thought you guys did a great job on hitting different types of content, hearing from schools, hearing from licensees, hearing from people even outside the industry on an encouragement and what we could do to improve our industry. Another thing that happened at the 2025 ICLA Desert Cactus Winter Symposium is the Synergy Awards were given out. You mentioned one earlier, and then Texas A&M won the ICLA Synergy Award overall, which was presented by 4Imprint. And we were all really got to see Kyle Pope's personality as he accepted that award and gave us a great speech. Heads up, Kyle will be our next guest here on the ICLA podcast, so check in a few weeks to hear from Kyle and the fun things that went on at Texas A&M last year. So Spencer from Boise State and Sonny from NC State both mentioned networking and making connections as some of their most valuable outcomes at these types of events. So how do you approach networking events when planning a symposium? I know it's not just all the education. There's some fun, some food, some fellowship. So how do those things play in when you're planning?
I think it's actually getting more challenging every year because we've spent so much time in Vegas, and when you're trying to plan for a party of over 200 people, that can be challenging, especially with with the cost of everything these days. And we always try to incorporate not only just a dinner, but also some sort of activity for the membership. And we think that they really enjoy being able to do something that's interactive and engaging. Whether that's a museum or mini golf or karaoke or something along those lines. So it is getting harder to find unique opportunities, but we always try to do something new each year. But but it is that is the fun part of planning is figuring out these events.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but it was the sign graveyard basically.
The neon museum. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really awesome to see all the old Vegas neon signs up close and personal. That was really cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, the weather was not really on our side. It was a chilly night, but for those that made it, it seemed like they enjoyed it. So, but yeah, it's the weather is between getting there in the winter in January, and then if we're there in the summer in June, it's either really hot or really cold. So, sometimes we're a little bit limited on what we can do, but hopefully people enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so. So you had the opportunity to plan 2 winter symposiums in a row, and you mentioned how it can be challenging going to the same place often. So you had last year's winter symposium in Las Vegas, and again this year's. So what did you learn about planning the first one that you went, okay, I'm gonna do something different on the second time around?
So, I would say this past year was definitely more of a learning curve because it was the first time that we've really integrated into Tailgate. It was just a very different experience, different schedule. So, we're used to, doing our events maybe at a hotel versus the convention center. So overall, I would say it was just a very different planning experience. There was a lot that we learned from this experience. I mean, from the second I think we got there, myself and the officers and the board all had, some mental notes on how we can improve moving forward. It was, and I would just say they're both experiences were just very different, but, there's a lot of room for improvement. I'm so glad that we integrated the booth. I think it was a great first start, and I loved seeing people, hold meetings at the booth, and it was so great having people come up and ask, what is ICLA? What is this all about? How can we join? And so those key conversations, I think, were just made it all worth it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. It was really cool walking the show and just having that presence there, seeing our big green, bright booth, and y'all did a beautiful job designing that and getting it set up too. So definitely kudos to that. Well, so now it's over. You don't have to plan Symposium again this year. You will be stepping in as the next president of ICLA. But now that the two symposiums are over and you can kind of sit back and reflect, what were your favorite moments of the event?
I keep going back to the integration of the booth. I just loved seeing the conversations that were happening there and bringing people together. That's what this association is all about. As much as we value education, we also, I think, equally value the networking aspect of the association in these events. So I'm just really excited for the potential of continuing to grow the booth, the networking opportunities, and the education there. I just think we've opened a door for some really great opportunities.
Yeah, I think you're right, and look forward to seeing how that relationship continues to grow and become stronger through the years. Well, Kimberly, that is all for my questions today. So I appreciate you coming on and spending some time and letting people get to know you and learn more about what ICLA has been up to for the spring semester here in the winter. So again, thanks for joining us. You were on the Sewing Concepts Hot Market Hotline, who brings us all of our guests here on the ICLA podcast, Licensed to Lead, Business Behind the Brand. We'll see you guys next time.